Hi everybody. As a math teacher, I find that a lot of times students have a tough time learning how to do long division. And so I've created this little tutorial to walk you through the steps of how to do long division. Okay, why don't you go ahead and pause the video and write this problem down. 1,275 divided by 5. Okay, so now there are 4 steps that you want to follow when you are doing long division. I like to think of them as Dad, Mom, Sister, and Brother. Now, if you really like your vegetables, though, you could remember it as Del Monte string beans, so you can pick whichever way helps you best. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to start with the number 5, and what we want to say to ourselves is, does 5 go into the number 1? No, 5 does not go into the number 1 because 5 is too big. So instead of now looking at the number 1, we want to look at the number 12. And we want to say, how many times does 5 divide into the number 12? 5 goes into 12 2 times. And so up above the 2 and 12, I want to put a 2. So now that we have divided, now we move on to the next step, Mom. The M for Mom stands for multiplication. So we divided 5 into 12 and we got 2. So now we're going to multiply 2 times 5 to see how close to 12 that got us. 2 times 5 is 10. Now after we multiply, sister, the S in sister stands for subtract. So we're going to subtract 12 and 10. That gives us 2. And now brother, the B in brother stands for bring down the next number. So this 7 in the problem, we're going to go ahead and bring down. Don't worry about the 5 that's over here on the end. We're not using that yet. We're only going to bring down one number at a time. Now, once that we are done with Dad, Mom, Sister, Brother, we go back up to the top and now we divide again. This time we have a 27 and that's what we're dividing the 5 into. So 5 goes into 27 5 times. So put that number up top. Now that we've divided, we're going to go ahead and multiply. 5 times 5 is 25. And then we're going to go ahead and sister, which would be subtract. And then brother, bring down the next number in the problem, and that would be a 5. Now that we've finished all the steps again, we go back up to the top, back to Dad, which is divide. This time we're dividing 5 into this 25 that's down here. 5 goes into 25 5 times. Then we multiply. 5 times 5 is 25. And then we subtract. 25 minus 25 is 0. And then we look to bring down the next number. Now, since there's no more numbers to bring down, and we got a 0 at the bottom, that means that we are finished. And so our final answer, 1,275 divided by 5, is 255. Okay, let's go ahead and try another one. Go ahead and write down the following problem, pause the video, and then play the video when you're ready to continue. Okay, let's go ahead and do it. So first we're going to start just like the last time with division. So when I look to divide, what I want to know is, does 3 go into 7? This time, yes, 3 does go into 7. How many times does 3 go into 7 without going over? It goes in 2 times. So up above the 7, we're going to put a 2. Now we're going to go ahead and multiply. 2 times 3 is 6. Our next step is to subtract. So when we subtract 7 and 6, we get 1. And the last step is to bring down the next number. So we're going to bring down the 4. If you feel comfortable, you can pause the video and try the next round, try the next few steps and see if you can get it right, and then play the video to check it. Let's go ahead and move on to the next step. So now that we've gotten down to brother, we're going to go back up to the top of the list to dad. That means we're going to divide 3 into 14 now. 3 goes into 14 4 times. Then we multiply. 4 times 3 is 12. Next, we subtract. 14 minus 12 is 2. And then we bring down the next number. I hope you got it right. If you want to go ahead and pause and try the next step, that would be great. Okay, so our next step is to go back to the top, which would be to divide. So we're going to divide 3 into 28. 3 goes into 28 9 times, because 9 times 3 gets us to 27. That's as close to 28 as we can get. So now we're going to subtract. We get 1. Then bring down that next number in line, which is a 2. Okay, back to division again. 3 goes into 12 4 times. And 4 times 3 is 12. So when we subtract, we get 0. Now we're not quite done with the problem yet just because we got a 0 at the bottom. The reason we're not done is because we still have numbers to bring down. So next we're going to bring down the 2. And then we go back to division again. How many times does 3 go into 2? 3 doesn't go into 2 because it's too big. And so what we do up top is we say 3 goes into 2 0 times. It doesn't go in. So 0. Now, so we've divided. 3 does not go into 2, so we put a 0 up top. Then we go back to mom, which is multiply. 0 times 3 is 0. Then we're going to go ahead and subtract. 2 minus 0 is 2. Bring down the next number. And hopefully this is the last step because we're out of room. Now we divide 3 into 21. And that goes in evenly 7 times. 7 times 3 is 21. So when we subtract, we get 0. So there is no remainder and no other numbers to bring down. So therefore, our final answer is 249,407. Whew, that was a big answer. Okay, I think it's about time that you try one on your own. Go ahead and write down this problem. Use your dad, mom, sister, brother steps. Go ahead and try the problem and then play the video to check your answer. Good luck. All right, let's go ahead and check and see how you did. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to test whether the number 4 goes into the number 1. Since 4 does not go into the number 1, we're not going to write anything above the 1. If you want to, some students even prefer putting an X there so that they don't accidentally write their first number up in that position. Now we're going to go ahead and test if 4 goes into 16. In this case, 4 does go into 16. And how many times does it go in? It goes in 4 times. So we divided. Now we're going to multiply. 4 times 4 is exactly 16. So we subtract and then bring down the next number. So we're going to bring down a 2. Now back up to the top with division. How many times does 4 go into 2? Well, 4 does not go into 2. So up top, we have to put a 0. Then we're going to go ahead and multiply. 0 times 4 is 0. We subtract. And then bring down the next number. So now we have 24. How many times does 4 go into 24? It goes in 6 times. 6 times 4 is exactly 24. So we end up with a remainder of 0. And there are no other numbers to bring down. So we're done. Our final answer is 406. Good job. Let's try another one. Okay, this is the last example. Go ahead and write this problem down. Try it yourself. If at any time that you get stuck, go ahead and play the video again until you get to the part where you're unstuck, and then continue trying it by yourself. All right, let's see how you did. So we're going to go ahead and start and divide. 7 goes into 8 one time. 1 times 7 is 7. After we subtract, we get the number 1, and then we bring down the 6. Okay, back to the beginning. 7 goes into 16 2 times. 2 times 7 is 14. Once we subtract, we get a 2, and then we bring down the next number. 7 goes into 23 3 times. 3 times 7 is 21. Once we subtract, we bring down the next number. 7 goes into 29 4 times. 4 times 7 is 28. Subtract, and then bring down the last number, which is a 4. 7 goes into 14 twice, and 2 times 7 is 14. A remainder of 0. No other numbers to bring down, so our answer is 12,342. Nice job, everybody. That concludes our tutorial on long division.